Hey everybody, it's Matt from endsickness.org. Today I'm going to be talking about the best supplements for parasites, okay? I'm going to go over my history, the various types of parasites that you can get. I'm going to talk about how raw bovine colostrum was extremely helpful for me and why. Talk about diatomaceous earth, Artemisinin, Moringa seed, bee propolis, Mimosa pudica, Japanese knotweed, zeolite. I'm going to talk about a lot of different ones. And I'm going to talk about how you trick parasites into killing them. You trick them before you take these things. And I'm going to talk about how it's kind of a long process to get rid of these parasites. You got to reduce parasite load, not necessarily kill them all in 10 days, right? So let's first start off with my history. I was diagnosed with Diatomaceous fragilis. It was a protozoan parasite, same family as malaria. Found that was probably the main cause of my health issues. I was sick for over 15 years. I lost 80 pounds, was having reactions to all kinds of different foods. Couldn't go to the bathroom on my own for 2 years. Had to use enemas. Rashes all over my body. They found they had 6-7 different bacterial infections, Candida, and eventually found this Diatomaceous fragilis parasite. Over the course of my healing, I saw worms come out. I saw what looked like eggs come out of me. Saw some really nasty stuff. Everything from flukes, liver flukes, to helminths or worms, to protozoans, to eggs. I saw all those things come out of me, other than the protozoans, which you can't see, but have a long history with parasites. So there are various types of parasites, okay? So each of these things are going to target different ones. I'll go over that. But you can't knock out all the parasites with just one thing. You have to go through it phase by phase because there's different types of parasites who will be more susceptible to different types of anti-parasitics. So let's start off first. Raw bovine colostrum, okay? Raw bovine colostrum was the most critical one for me initially because I had several different bacterial infections. I had Candida through the roof. All these things were helping the parasite grow and helping the parasite to flourish, right? The raw bovine colostrum was very helpful for the bacterial infections, for the fungal infections. It seemed to get rid of some of the parasite issues as well because I gained 40 pounds back within about 4 months of drinking the stuff and was able to eat nearly all the foods that I couldn't eat before. I was able to go to the bathroom. A lot of the things that were worse initially because of being sick got much better within 4 to 6 months, I'd say, with the bovine colostrum. I was drinking about 8 ounces a day. I was doing about 4 or 5 days on, a couple days off, and saw some miraculous changes once the detox got through. But within about 4 to 6 months, this stuff was critical to restoring the gut lining, keeping my mast cells calm, which is critical when you got parasites. And as I said, was seemingly helpful for protozoans. I saw some what looked like parasite eggs that came out, and I've seen that with other people who have taken the colostrum too. So that could be helpful for some of the parasites, but mostly bacterial and fungal infections and parasite eggs, right? Diatomaceous earth is a very broad spectrum antimicrobial. It has effects against various types of parasites, okay? It can be effective against protozoans, effective against worms, effective against their eggs, etc. So that is one of the most broad spectrum ones. It also calms the immune system down, the mast cells, like all these things, or I wouldn't really be using them. Or the diatomaceous earth, though, is kind of hard on the stomach. You don't really want to do more than 5 to 10 days at a time of that. And I was doing doses that were 2 to 3 tablespoons on an empty stomach. I was even doing that twice a day. Saw some massive differences within a period of 3 to 5 days in those doses, but by day 7 or so, it hurt my stomach, you know. But definitely produced a lot of relief along with the bovine colostrum. All right, Artemisinin, that's also another one that's helpful for protozoans and helminths or worms, but primarily protozoans. Moringa seeds, very helpful for liver flukes, okay? There's not many things out there for fasciola hepatitis, which is the liver fluke. That is the #1 thing I found that you can take to get rid of these liver flukes. I did a moringa seed liquid that I made myself from grinding all the moringa seeds together in a blender, straining out the seed material, and then drinking it. And within a period of 2 days, I had passed what looked like 3 liver flukes. I looked them up, looked exactly like them, and I then found out that this moringa seed was effective against these things. I didn't even know at the time. And I confirmed it by the use of the stuff and then verifying in studies. So moringa seed, very helpful for liver flukes. Also moringa leaf can be helpful for some types of parasites. Bee propolis, very helpful for protozoans, bacterial infections, fungal infections, which coincide with these parasitic infections, but primarily protozoans, bee propolis. Mimosa pudica, very helpful for rope worms, okay? Rope worms are something that's relatively new. Some people debate if they're real or not, But I have had clients that took the mimosa pudica that saw these ropeworms come out of them. They took pictures and sent them to me. It was hard not to believe what had happened there, and that it was helpful. So mimosa pudica, that's one of the ones that I feel is not the best mast cell modulator, so I need to be careful with that. Make sure it doesn't trigger any type of other symptoms, inflammatory issues, and you want to rotate that one. You want to, as I'll explain here in the future here. Japanese knotweed was very helpful in high doses. I was doing 2 to 3 tablespoons at a time. I was mixing it with juice, honey, water, etc. as I'll go over, and I've seen worms come out of me from that. And also eggs, what looked like egg sacs as well. So knotweed is very helpful as well. Zeolite. People have talked about zeolite being extremely effective for parasites. I haven't personally used it and saw parasites come out of me, but I've seen a lot of posts online where people claim that zeolite clinipatle was the most important thing that helped them with their parasites. So it's worth mentioning, even though my personal experience doesn't validate it, right? So tricking parasites is the key. If you keep taking the same thing every single day, you're going to end up with a resistant parasite, or a parasite that knows what's coming. It knows not to consume this thing. It knows not to, try to consume the Moringa seed or the propolis or whatever. It knows how to evade it when it sees it come into the body. So you have to trick these parasites. You have to bring them out into activity per se, and then kill them. The way that I would do that is I would eat something like a piece of chocolate or something that was sugary, something that would bring them out, and then I would take a high dose of these anti-parasitics. For example, when I did the Moringa seed, I ate a chocolate bar beforehand and then did the heavy dose of the Moringa seed 2 days in a row, and then saw these flukes come out of me, right? So what happens is these parasites will burrow, and then when they notice that there's something in the body that can be used for replication or help them, then they will come out of their dormant areas. Another one is serotonin. If you boost serotonin, okay, they've shown that makes parasites actually more active and helps them move around, okay? So if you take 5-HTP beforehand, you can increase your serotonin levels, and then you take the anti-parasitic. That will help the parasites come out from wherever they are and expose them to the anti-parasitic. Another thing you can do is you can mix the anti-parasitic with sugars, like prune juice, carrot juice. Those are 2 things that I use with the knotweed that's been very helpful. Honey and water, okay, been very helpful. I've seen worms come out of me after mixing Japanese knotweed, about 3 tablespoons with water and honey, right? Makes the parasite think that it's okay to consume this thing or to come out into the environment, and guess what? Gets killed, right? So tricking the parasites is the key. You can take these things the first time around and notice you're getting a great reaction to it. The next time around, you don't notice anything. Why? Because the parasites are expecting it. So you have to trick them into getting into an active state or into a state where they're moving around, so they're exposed, right? It's a long process with parasites. You can't just take anti-parasitics one time and poof, it's gone, right? This is, you have to reduce the load of parasites over time, okay? And it's not healthy to try to kill all the parasites at once. It'll be too hard on the body, and you end up getting really sick, and you won't be effective. Your parasite load will be directly correlated with your toxicity, your immune reactivity. If your toxicity is high, your immune system's overactive, guess what? You're not going to get rid of the parasites, okay? So it's a long process of immune modulation, killing the parasites. Immune modulation, killing the parasites. Detoxing the liver, the stomach, the gallbladder, killing the parasites. It's this constant flushing, killing, tricking, flushing, killing, tricking, etc. All these products are mast cell modulators, okay? The one that maybe isn't the best is Mimosa pudica. I haven't seen science on that, Mimosa pudica seed, but the rest of these are mast cell modulators. You have to make sure that you're keeping your immune system calm during this process of killing the parasites. As you kill more and more, there will be your immune system will get less and less reactive, okay? But you can't be eating foods that are triggering you, taking supplements, pharmaceuticals that are triggering you, and then expect to get rid of these parasites, because guess what? They're there because your immune system is overactive. Your immune system's compromised. You are toxic with a bunch of different things in you. So it's a long process. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So go through phases, 10-day phases typically, and then take time off. Allow your body to readjust. Go through other phases. Go through a period with a couple months where you don't do anything. You just let your body calm down. So that's key to note. Summary of key points. I had the most extensive history with parasites. I had lost 80 pounds. I had various types of parasites I saw come out of me. Ones that showed up on tests, etc. I got plenty of experience in these areas. there are various types of parasites in your body if you're sick in most cases. It's not just worms, it could be protozoans, it could be worms, it could be various other types of parasites, right? But typically it's protozoans and various types of worms. Raw bovine colostrum was critical for getting rid of the secondary infections, getting my immune system calm, getting rid of some of the protozoans, the eggs in my stomach. Diatomaceous earth was great, but it was a little hard on the stomach. Saw great benefits at high doses within a few days, but you gotta be careful with that. Artemisinin, very helpful for protozoan infections. Moringa seed, very helpful for liver flukes. Propolis, very helpful for protozoan infections and feeding good bacteria, getting rid of some of the bacteria and the fungal issues. But most putica, most helpful for ropeworms. Knotweed, very helpful for helminths or worms, parasite eggs, getting rid of them. You have to trick the parasites, mixing it with sugar or eating some type of sugar beforehand, or doing something to boost serotonin beforehand to increase the activity and the exposure of the parasites. And it's a long process, it's not a sprint. You got to go through it to reduce parasite load slowly. You can't just expect to get rid of them all at once. So hope this has been a helpful video for you. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on my website, endsickness.org. Also, feel free to put them in the comments on my YouTube. I'm happy to answer them. This is for educational purposes only, everybody. This is only for educational purposes. This is not to be misconstrued as medical advice. This is based on my personal experiences I've had with my clients, my daughter, the scientific studies I've read, all this over 20 plus years of research in these things. So hopefully this video has been helpful, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks, everybody.